Welcome to this week's Teaching of the Week video. Today I have a great teaching for you from the Bhagavad Gita, a very practical instruction on meditation. If you're new here to the channel, my name is Sunny Sharma. Here on this channel, we study and practice the Gita teachings with great devotion. We have started doing a Teaching of the Week segment where every Monday I post this video with a short little snippet from one of the verses of the Gita, and we devote ourselves to practicing it during the entire week. So excited to share with you what today's teaching is. It is from chapter 6, the practice of meditation. And we are going to be focusing today on verse 26. If this is the first time you're joining us, tune in every Monday for a new teaching of the week. This just will help you to practice the Gita teachings week by week. You're going to grow in your practice. And it's a very simple way of doing so because we're doing it one little bit at a time. So again, chapter 6, the practice of meditation, verse 26. By the way, I am following the Eknath Easwaran English translation, just in case you were wondering. So Krishna tells us, wherever the mind wanders, restless and diffuse in its search for satisfaction without, lead it within. Train it to rest in the self. Abiding joy comes to those who still the mind. Freeing themselves from the taint of self-will, with their consciousness unified, they become one with Brahman. A very deep yet practical instruction. In this entire chapter, if you read it, Krishna tells us the importance of meditation, how it is one of our integral teachings in the entire Gita, how we need to train the mind and seek the self within through the practice of meditation. Why is this teaching significant? Krishna says in verse 23, the practice of meditation frees one from all affliction, all suffering. This is the path of yoga. Follow it with determination and sustained enthusiasm. He also says in verse 19 and 20, when meditation is mastered, the mind is unwavering, like the flame of a lamp in a windless place. In the still mind, in the depths of meditation, the self reveals itself. Beholding the self by means of the self, an aspirant knows the joy and peace of complete fulfillment. Having attained that abiding joy beyond the senses, revealed in the stilled mind, they never swerve from eternal truth. They desire nothing else and cannot be shaken by the heaviest burden of sorrow. So the practice of meditation frees us from all affliction. It tackles the root of our suffering and starts to dissolve that within. And it helps us to attain an abiding joy beyond the senses, beyond the transient, fleeting pleasures of the senses, which is revealed in the still mind. And it allows us to never swerve from eternal truth, always living a life of integrity, honor, truth. And most importantly, here in verse 20, Krishna says, in the still mind, in the depths of meditation, the self reveals itself. So meditation is a direct practice to pursue self-realization. So why is meditation significant? And why is the teaching that we're going to cover today and practice all week of value? Because it purifies the mind and it reveals the self within. It is, in my practice, I felt that meditation is the foundation of my entire spiritual practice, of all the other things I do. And it is where we learn to source answers from within. It's like a portal of wisdom opening up within us that starts to bring clarity to the mind. And it makes us more and more able to live like Krishna suggests in the Gita throughout. So I found that without meditation, we really struggle on the spiritual path. We're very indecisive, unclear. We don't know what to do and how, and we get really entangled in the world. And we get entangled in pride and selfishness and judgment and not knowing what to do. Meditation is like that firm foundation So, yes, we'll be practicing this teaching during this week, but I encourage you to also practice it beyond the week. But let's just start with the week. Let's cover how to actually practice the teaching of the week, which comes from verse 26. Once again, Krishna says, wherever the mind wanders, restless and diffuse in its search for satisfaction without, lead it within. Train it to rest in the self. So, whether you have meditated before or not, I'm pretty sure it's very easy for you to see that when you sit and you close your eyes, mind is just thinking about things endlessly with a great momentum. So, what we are to do this week, we need to practice bringing our attention inward to the self, away from thoughts, inward to the self. Attention right now is just going outward in thoughts, spilling over into thoughts. Thought is like controlling our attention, totally scattered. This thought and next thought and next thought, and our attention just goes there unconsciously. Now we're going to train our attention, consciously guiding our attention inward to our sense of self, because Krishna is the inner self of all beings. Krishna is the inner witness, the self. So we are guiding our attention consciously inwards to the witnessing, to the awareness, to the sense of beingness, the sense of self, I, and dwelling there thoughtlessly, wordlessly. Once again, when we find ourselves lost in thought, the moment you notice you are lost in thought, that is your opportunity. Let go of thinking and just guide your attention back inward to the self, which is awareness, beingness, your felt sense of existence. Feel into it. Pay attention to it. I. What do you feel as I in your direct experience? Go there. Take your attention there and keep it there. By doing this practice, by committing to it day in and day out, without expectation, you will begin to attain abiding joy, Krishna says. You will begin to free yourselves from the taint of self-will, Krishna tells us. He says that we will unify our consciousness and become one with Brahman, the inner self of all beings. So let's devote ourselves to the practice of this with great discipline this week. How are you going to practice this? 2 ways. You're going to sit twice per day. So 2 sessions, once in the morning and once in the evening. And you can see where in your day you want to place them, but you have to sit twice for a minimum of 15 minutes. You can do longer if you wish, but minimum of 15 minutes. And during that time, you are going to do exactly what we just practiced. Instead of losing your attention in thoughts, you're going to guide your attention inward, back to the sense of self, back to your sense of beingness. I am. Keep guiding your attention there. Train it to rest there. If that is a little difficult for you, train your attention to rest in the breath. Just watch the breath. Or train your attention to rest in body sensation. Watch body sensation. Okay. So you're going to do that twice per day, this entire week. No matter how hard it is, do your best. It will be a little difficult, but do it without expectation of something happening. Okay. Just do it for the sake of practice. And then second thing, during the day, try to catch yourself thinking as often as you can. But let's say do it at least 10 times. Catch yourself thinking. And the moment you catch yourself thinking, make it your main initiative to let go of thought and guide your attention back inward, just like you do in meditation. With this, you don't have to have your eyes closed. You could maybe be in a meeting, or you could be watching this video, or you could be reading, or you could be driving or eating. But the moment you catch yourself thinking, you let go and you become aware of self. You guide your attention back inwards to the self. You are there, wordlessly, thoughtlessly, aware of being. aware of self. Do this at least 10 times per day, in addition to your 2 times sit down meditation. One is not the substitute for the other. You can't just say, I'm not going to sit down to meditate. I'll just practice throughout the day. No, do both. Don't just meditate and then be like, I'm not going to practice during the day. No, do both. Okay. Practice to the best of your ability. If you need help, join our study group. I'll link it down below. Thanks for watching this. If you have questions or difficulties, comment them below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Best of luck.